Hi, everyone. This is Laurel Fisher, Grants Manager for the Metro Arts Commission. I'm excited to share with you all the panelist orientation information. So I'll just go ahead and share my screen so you can take a look. All right, so welcome to our panelist orientation. We, of course, first want to start with, we're really thankful for your participation in this process. We really couldn't do our grants program without the input of our citizen panelists. And so we're really, really, really grateful. And I know that you will hear that from us several times before the end of this grant season. A little bit about us. I just wanted, for those of you who may not be as familiar with Metro Arts, we are a department of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County, which means that we do report to the City Council and to the mayor. Our commissioners are appointed by the mayor, and then they also have the final say in all decisions related to grant funding and other programs that Metro Arts offers. All of our programs, including grants, are guided by our theory of change. Our vision is that all Nashvillians have access to a creative life. And so our community outcomes that we work toward every day to make that happen are supporting vibrant creative neighborhoods, ensuring that our creative workers are supported, and that we increase and have deeper cultural participation in the arts. So we're moving beyond arts experiences into really engaging Nashvillians in the process of art making, as well as the experiences that those entail. This is a little bit about how our department is structured. The grants program does make up about 65 to 70% of our operating budget. Those funds are redistributed to the community in the form of grants, but we also offer a number of other programs in our department. The community programs and public art programs, you can learn more about both of those at our website at artsnashville.org. We really encourage you to take a look at some of the other things that our agency does. Our grants are broken down into two major categories: operating support and project support. Within the operating support, we provide unrestricted funds to arts and culture organizations to really give them the ability to pay salaries, pay the light bill, rent their office spaces. And so those, we really, really believe in those as foundational to the survival of our arts organizations in Nashville. Project support are for exactly that, very specific projects that either address arts access, are programs that are specifically for youth, and then the bottom two categories, Catalyst and Creation. Those two categories are open to nonprofit arts organizations only. Catalyst is a capacity building grant, and Creation is for the creation of new works. One thing to point out here is that arts access and youth arts are both open to arts organizations and non-arts organizations. So you might see something, a social service agency, for instance, applying, or an after-school youth program applying for funds in this category, whereas Catalyst and Creation are reserved mainly for our arts nonprofit organizations. Our operating support is split into two categories. Basic operating support is for those organizations who have an average revenue of $100,000 per year. Core is the category that is for organizations who have average revenue under 100,000 per year. Last year, we moved to a 3-year adjudication process for our larger organizations, those ones in the basic operating support category. So they are actually not going to be adjudicated this year. But core operating support, since those organizations are especially small and growing, emerging, sometimes are culturally specific, those organizations are reviewed on an annual basis. So a number of you may be looking at applications this year and serving on the core operating support category. This is just a high-level overview of our panel review process. We start with our volunteer citizen panelist. The staff at Metro Arts do not score any applications. We coach. We coach our applicants all the way up to the deadline. We help them with questions. We offer draft reviews if they would like them, and then we hand it over to our panelists to do the scoring and comments. The panel review meetings are public because we are redistributing public dollars, and so we wanted to make sure that this process is as transparent as possible. So those panel meetings will be available for folks to come in and watch those meetings. From your scores, we average the score from every panelist so that an application has one score, a final score at the end of the public meeting. That turns into a ranking. So a ranking is the order in which we have applications scoring from the highest to the lowest. So for instance, if an organization receives an 85 on their application, they may be ranked number 1 in that category. If the next organization received an 80, then that organization is ranked number 2, and so on and so forth. Those rankings determine the percentage of the amount requested they will receive. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. So because we have a focus on our theory of change, we also have certain values that we feel help us reach those goals. All art has value. Culture is rooted in community. Artistic excellence drives community excellence. Artistic excellence is often a moving target. What is the word excellent? And whose definition of excellent are we talking about? But we're really trying to open up the fact that artistic excellence is really ultimately is going to drive community excellence. So just keep that in mind as you're reviewing applications. Arts are for everyone, as we've mentioned. Our goal is that all Nashvillians have access to a creative life, and so we want to ensure accessibility in all of our funded projects. Collaboration creates shared value, and strong arts equals strong community. So just keep those things in mind as you're reviewing these applications. All of our applications are reviewed using a scoring criteria. All applications are divided into these 3 categories: the community, the art, and the organization. So the first section on the community is really about how is this project interacting with the community? How is it building relationships? Is it accessible? Are there price barriers, transportation barriers? How have they addressed those? Has the organization do they really understand the neighborhood or the community that they're entering? Are they sensitive to the specific needs that they have? And what are those benefits that at the end of the project you're going to see in the community after the completion of the project? The art is where we can learn more about what is the project, what kinds of artistic genres does it include, what kind of training and examples of this are going to come out in these projects, who's the leader, who has that artistic vision, and how is that person going to relay that information to the other participants and the other supporting artists who may be helping them with the project. And how is this strengthening the creative workforce? We want to ensure that artists are paid for their services, and so and make sure that those artists who are hired for these projects have been recruited in a fair way. Of course, we care very much about our creative workforce in Nashville, and we want our projects to be funded to support that as well. The organization is many questions about planning. Who is the leader of the organization? What does the board? What kind of involvement do they have? What is their makeup, their racial makeup, and how do they assess their programs to ensure that they are being successful? Arts advocacy is something that's related only to operating support applicants. So if you are reviewing a project support grant, you will not see any questions related to arts advocacy. But arts advocacy is really important for those organizations who are arts-focused organizations. We want to ensure that they are have their voice heard in conversations related to funding in the arts. Now, a number of the questions in this category are going to relate to some information on the organization's givingmatters.com profile. Every application has a copy of the organization's profile in the attachment section of the application or the support materials. You can also go to givingmatters.com and look up the organization's profile online. Either way, you'll be using some of the data on that website as part of your scoring process. Some responsibilities that you have as a panelist. We really do our very, very best to ensure that there are no conflicts of interest between a panelist and an applicant. So if you feel like there's any reason why you would not be able to score an application fairly, if you serve on the board of an organization, or if you have a family member who serves on the board, or a significant other is going to be one of the artists paid if the grant is received. Just be very self-aware and please share with us those conflicts so that we can ensure a fair process. Even if there is a particular conflict in an application you've been assigned, we can easily have you recuse yourself from voting on that particular application, and you would still be able to review the other applications. So just please bring those to us if you see that there is a conflict or a potential conflict. We ask you to take the review process seriously, and your thoughts and scores are really going to define how much money or if a project is going to be funded. So we ask that you read the materials in advance of the public meeting and really give some feedback to our applicants. Scoring is fine, but sometimes our applicants really appreciate knowing if they score really well, they would like to know what is it that we're doing well so that we can continue that. Or if you did score them lower, what is it that is an area of improvement for them? Our applicants do take those comment sheets very seriously, and they work on that feedback throughout the year to improve their processes. Those score sheets and feedback are going to be available to the applicants after the review period. They will not include your names, so you will be able to remain anonymous, but it is content that we will be sharing with the applicant. I have also sent to you with the link for this video our scoring guide, which includes our values and the principles as stated in our strategic plan. And I also encourage you to visit our equity statement. There's a link to that in that scoring guide, where you can find that on our website as well. But that is also a statement that we ask you to read and take into consideration as you are reviewing these applications. So Metro Arts has recently moved to a new online grants system called Web Grants. And so all of your applications and your reviews will be done online. I will be providing for you a user ID and password, and I'll also send you a link to this website so that you can access your applications at the ones you've been assigned at your convenience. So the first step using web grants is to identify those conflicts of interest. So you're going to receive an email from this particular email address, metroarts@webgrantsmail.com. It's going to let you know that within the web grant system, there has been some conflicts of interest assigned to you. So essentially, you're going to be able to identify those conflicts or potential conflicts in the system before you even start reviewing the application. So what you'll do is you'll actually go to the web grant system, and this will be what that main screen looks like. And instead of going straight to My Reviews, you're going to start with conflicts of interest. And so once you click on that particular field, you're going to see a whole long list of the applications that you've been assigned to review. But it's going to take you through this step of conflicts of interest first before those applications move to the next phase, which is going to be found in My Reviews. In this particular example for video purposes, we've just put one application in here. But depending on the number of applications, you may have 10 in your particular category that you review here. The application title will state what kind of application it is or what the name of the project is. And to be able to edit this and identify whether or not there is a conflict, you'll need to visit this little edit button here on the top right. And that's actually how you'll enter data throughout this system. There's always an edit button in areas in which you need to enter a score or comment, etc. If you needed to actually look at the application further because you're not sure if there would be a conflict of interest, you can click on this blue hyperlink right here that has the name of the applicant, and it will show you a copy of the application. If you do see something in there, oh, you know, this is not going to be a good one for me to review, then you can even submit it at this point that you would like to recuse yourself from reviewing the application. So once you click on that edit button, you're going to be redirected to this page. You're going to be able to start on the left-hand column. Yes or no, I would like to review this application, or no, I don't think I should. The conflict of interest, this is a drop-down menu, and you'll see the options full, partial, or none. And so a full conflict of interest would be one of those instances where you serve on the board of this particular organization and don't feel, and it would be inappropriate for you to review. A partial conflict may be, I worked for this organization a few years ago. I'm kind of loosely still involved with them, so I'm not sure if this is a conflict or not. You can select partial. And then if there's no conflict of interest, then you can select none and you can move on. Expertise is really up to you into how you want to use that. There are 3 different options in this drop-down menu as well: considerable, moderate, and then limited. But we consider all of you to have considerable expertise because we already know your expertise to be something that's great for our grant review panel. So if you want to add any comments to that, to this particular application, for instance, if you did have a partial conflict and you're not sure if it's actually a conflict or not, you can enter those comments in this comment box before saving it. So once you have submitted these, they're going to be sent back to me to review. And so I may give you a call and ask about any comments or concerns you may have about conflicts of interest. If there are none, then we just move forward toward the actual review process. So once those have been approved in the web grant system and we've identified those conflicts of interest, if there are any, then you'll then receive another email from metroarts@webgrantsmail.com that will tell you that your applications are ready to be reviewed in WebGrants. This time when you log in, you'll actually be able to go straight to the My Reviews button down here so that you can actually see the reviews and begin the scoring process. Now at this point, I want to take you over to the website so I can show you a few different things. So you'll take your user ID that you've been provided, and you'll go to My Reviews. In this screen, you'll be able to actually see the reviews that you've been assigned, and then you'll be able to actually click the review screen. This one I actually just completed, but I can show you how the scoring process worked. In this case, I was able to make comments and scores related to each of the 3 sections. So I was able to give a score of 25, a maximum of 30 points in each category, and I was able to make a few comments. For training purposes, we just made a few short comments in here, but you can see how you'll be able to type some comments for each section of the application. And then the system will total that for you. So just as you saw here, you have a total score of 70, and then the application itself is right here. Now, I do want to go through real quickly that the organization's information is going to be at the top of that application. You'll go down and you'll be able to see the narratives related to each of the sections. And then at the very bottom, you're going to see the budget. And so all of our applications include the asking whatever their grant request is. Their grant request must be matched dollar for dollar. All of our grant programs are matching grants. And so in this particular case, this example shows that the organization is asking for a certain amount that would go toward personnel expenses and administrative and artistic, and that they also would spend $5,000 in administrative and artistic as their matching requirement as well. So you're welcome to ask questions in the panel related to this budget. That will be something that they are going to be prepared to answer questions about. At the very bottom here, you'll see some attachments. And so as I mentioned earlier, the Giving Matters profile will be used for a number of scores related to the organization. Those planning things, are there policies and procedures in place, things like that. So you'll be able to access this PDF right here. The support materials are often pictures or videos or something that really highlights the creative nature of their programs. We've encouraged them to use those for those of us who are visual and oral learners and really want to see and experience the program and not just read about it. If an application were to have website links, if for instance, someone has a YouTube video that they would like to use as a support material, or some other, maybe even their website that has some more information about their project, those would be here and you'd be able to link directly to those. Now, because all of our reviews will be done online this year, we will have laptops available for you at the panel meeting date. But should you want to use your own laptop, if you feel more comfortable with that, you're welcome to bring that. All we will need is access to the internet, so we wouldn't need to install any special software on your own personal computer. It's really a matter of preference. So we'll have all of those computers ready for you, but you just let me know if you'd like to use your own. So let's skip back over to our PowerPoint presentation at this point. So here's what happens after the panel review. Your scores are used to create the average score for each application, which then turns into the rankings that I mentioned earlier. And then we wait to find out what that Metro budget number is going to be for our department for the fiscal year 19. Those will be reviewed by the City Council and voted on. And then once we find that number, we're able to begin the allocations process. We'll prepare a sample allocations, and obviously every dollar is spent in these grants. And if there is a particular break in score, it could be that some organizations that you've reviewed do not receive funding in a particular category. It all depends on the amount of money we are awarded. There's no minimum score that an application has to receive. We will draw down those funds using the ranking to award grants until the money in that category has run out. Then those allocations are given to the grants committee for them to review, adjust, and then vote on. Then their recommendation moves on to our Arts Commission, the full commission. They will review, make any edits that they see necessary, and then they too will vote. At that particular meeting, which is scheduled for June 21st of 2018, that is when the awards will be released. After the commission has made their final decision, we will send a press release out that particular day to let applicants know the results of their grant awards for FY19. And then the fiscal year will begin on July 1st, and we are on our way into another grant year. I will point out that this is a competitive program. Last year, in the particular fiscal year that we're in now, we received 95 applications from 59 organizations. We were only able to award 61 contracts to 46 different agencies. And as you can see, the demand is always higher than the amount we have available. And so that is why it's incredibly important for us to continue to advocate for arts funding in the city of Nashville. We hope to one day be able to award more dollars than we do now, but it is a competitive landscape and a lot of really quality arts programs happening that are seeking funding. So that is your orientation to reviewing grants with Metro Arts. Again, we thank you for your service and participating in this process this year. You are welcome to reach out to me with questions at any time. Again, my name is Laurel Fisher. I am the grants manager for Metro Arts, and you can reach me by email at laurel.fisher@nashville.gov or by phone at 615-862-6744. Thank you for watching.